out. If it's on a Wednesday, no stretching it out. If it's on a Friday or a Monday, no stretching it out because you're already getting a 3-day weekend on either side. So, but if it lands on a Tuesday or Thursday, those 2 days, it gets to be a little bit difficult to get anything actually to be productive. And understand though, I know a lot of us are spoiled by that because there are a lot of people that don't get those special days off. Our medical personnel, the shift workers that find it difficult because you got to, hospitals and places like that have to be, and nursing care and things like that have to be manned 24/7, 365, or in the case of leap year, 366. First responders. Again, first responders and medical personnel in medical facilities are basically, I would call them shift workers because they have no holidays. Again, they've got to be available. It's got to be fully staffed, 24/7, 365. But the people that seem to get the most time off, a lot of times are the ones that seem to make the most money, especially after you've been in that industry for a while. Education, for one. Don't get me wrong. I know beginning teachers, if you've been a teacher in public schools for less than 10 years, you're probably making squat. But once you've hit that 10-year mark or you've been there for more than 10 years, you're starting to make decent money. Now, also remember that most teachers, I know some teachers, they take up the extra income from summer school or summer classes or what have you in the school district, but most teachers do not. A lot of teachers have summertime jobs. They might be a real estate agent or a landscaper or something like that, and they'll do that stuff during the summer. But one of the most perfect professions, I think, out there is education, because you get just about every single holiday during the school year off. If government shuts down, you don't go to work. And your school year is 9 or 10 months, and you get 2 or 3 months off. Now, granted, usually teachers have to go back to school, about a week or two before students. So, but nobody else gets that time of time off every year without fail, without question. And the financial industry, not just bankers. I know somebody's out there thinking bankers, not just bankers. So, I think I got it good because, in this business, I can just take off any time I want, I suppose. Now, if I want to have a successful program, I can't do that. I just can't say, well, every week I'm going to take an extra day off. People aren't going to listen. But pretty much, if I want to take a holiday off, I can do that. That's the benefit of being your own boss, I guess. Yes? You can, hey, you can do that. You can be your own boss. I find it interesting, too, that there are a lot of liberal people, especially liberal college students. I got something here about college students, by the way, and something about schools. But college students, a lot of times when they found and start running their own companies, businesses, they tend to be a lot less liberal because they start seeing the effects liberalism has on their own business and their own personal success. One of those things is it comes to taxes. Now, you'll find that even though much like, Mark Zuckerberg, saying that he's going to donate 99% of his Facebook stock proceeds to him and his wife's new foundation, and he was slammed for it, rightfully so. He was slammed so hard because the facts are what they are, that Facebook had to issue a rebuttal to that, which means basically when they refuted the reason why specifically, you knew that's exactly what he was thinking of, because Zuckerberg is not stupid and neither are his accountants. It was a big not avoidance, because if you avoid, avoiding taxes is illegal, paying taxes is illegal. Taking the proper exemptions, reducing your tax payout can be legal. But what he's doing with this is he's planning and setting up to reduce his tax burden significantly. Now, just about all liberals do this. They're all out there with like mouthpieces telling everybody else how the rich and the upper class and the upper crust and the upper middle class aren't paying their fair share in taxes. And then you find out in their own taxes either they're not paying them. We've had a few of those people. They even got elected to Congress or appointed to cabinet positions in this administration. And you have, the rich liberals are out there. They hire themselves an army of tax attorneys and accountants and bookkeepers to make sure that they legally pay the least amount of taxes that they can get away with. And often, they're hiring these people, so they have to pay them. But obviously, even if they're paying an army of tax reduction professionals, they're obviously saving much more than they're paying out. So it's not a wash. It's of benefit to them. So understand that Zuckerberg is doing this, I believe, not for altruistic reasons. But mostly he looked at this and said, all his financial professionals and advisors said, hey, Mark, you can reduce your taxes really significantly if you do this. They probably laid out a few things for him, this, or this, and he looked at it and says, oh, we can do that, just like Bill and Melinda and a bunch of other super rich people. Because Zuckerberg is now in the 0.1% range. It's not just a 1%. He's in the 0.1%. He's got a net worth of over $1 billion. When you get a net worth over $1 billion, I think it's actually a net worth over $750 million. But net worth over $100 million, you're in the 0.1% of people in this country and really in the world. When you get to that level, and again, I'm not begrudging him. Look, he developed something that a lot of people willingly and freely use. Nobody's forcing anybody to use Facebook. A lot of the wealth that has been built up over the past 20 years has come from a younger set of people. A lot of them started these companies, these mega billion-dollar companies, in their college dorm or in their bedroom at home. You got Microsoft. What Microsoft was started in the basement, Apple in the garage, or was it the other way around? Apple was in the basement and Microsoft in the garage, something like that. And Sears Roebuck and Sears. He started selling stuff in a horse-drawn wagon, going from town to town. So a lot of major multi-billion-dollar companies have very modest beginnings. A lot of companies don't start when they had, with all of this cash influx and investment, and all of a sudden, their first year they're a multi-million-dollar company. It doesn't usually. It can happen. It has happened, but it doesn't usually happen that way. It usually happens when 1, 2, or 3 people. Usually they have something in common because either they're childhood friends, high school friends, or college buddies, or they met in college and were in the same classes, or they have something in common that brings them together with an idea. And then they start that idea oftentimes on a shoestring, with credit cards, their savings. If they're a little bit older, maybe they have a little bit tucked away in their retirement accounts. I watch a lot. The Prophet, the TV, is what, CNBC is where it's aired on originally. The Prophet, Marcus Lemonis, he goes into these companies that are starting to fail. They were once profitable and successful, and they start to fail. And he goes in a lot of these places and he asked him how a lot of them tell him that they got started by simply, credit cards or a loan from mom or dad, or they put their house, got a second mortgage on that. They just bootstrapped it. And frankly, that's how a lot of our major corporations get started. They may be huge today, but so the interesting thing is you have to look out and watch for the future multi-billion-dollar companies. I know people think, well, you can't figure that out. Well, it is hard to try to figure that because you don't know who they are because they're really small. They might be something that's being done in a 14-year-old's bedroom right now. But the internet has been, this whole tech stuff has been able to really create flashpoints for people that otherwise would not have had a chance. Now, you don't even have to have an idea. You don't even have to have an idea. I mean, you don't have to have, technical qualifications, and you don't have to have some sort of technical idea or specialty or know how to code or be a biotech engineer or something like that. There are people that are making it big because of online, because somebody else had the tech idea. Like Amazon. Amazon is minting millionaires left and right. Because they find a product or a niche, or maybe they become their own, Walmart, if you will, online retailer, discounter, and they place products and services for sale online, like places and platforms like Amazon, and they sell a buku amount on an annual basis. And look, entertainment has become so fragmented. That's what has made YouTube so huge. What back in the early 2000s, there were less than 10 YouTubers that were making six figures. Now I think this year, I think I saw something like that. They were expecting over 10,000 YouTubers this year to make six figures. And that's in a 10-year span. So again, this is, and it's not just here, but in other places too, because the technology shrinks the globe. But most of that wealth is being created in free societies like United States, in Canada, in Japan. Look, you want to talk about millionaires being minted on the internet? Try games and applications. You'll notice a lot of these application companies or these games are written in Japanese because they're designed by Japanese. And we play the heck out of them. It's really kind of interesting. But designing a game takes special knowledge. I don't have that. Designing apps takes special knowledge. I don't have that. But there are a lot of people that do. So I encourage people to, as we get into the new year, this might be a good time for you to take stock of what you have available, what interests you, where you can move forward, what type of resolution can you make for the new year, for 2016, that you think that you can keep. And remember, well over 3/4 of all resolutions that are made are dropped or failed or forgotten about before January 30th. So you need to start thinking about your resolutions and about you and who you really are. I know one resolution here is to make sure that we continue the fight to find the right candidates for all levels of government, but especially for president of these United States. That's my resolution. I'm going to be on it all year long. I know I can keep that resolution because I've been doing it since 2009 anyway, so maybe that's not a stretch. Maybe you're supposed to do something that makes you grow and stretch. Have a resolution that makes you grow, personally grow and stretch. But we'll just have to see if that actually works out or not. Hopefully, we'll get the right person. We'll elect the right person. Hopefully we'll be getting. Let's make that a New Year's resolution, shall we? Let's resolve that at all levels of government, that we promote and elect constitutional conservatives to government and help them govern, not rule. Great resolution.